Good morning, y'all. Today is July 30th. I drug the coop over there. I put the rope and hose on the front so you can pull it now. It doesn't have the wheel system on it yet or the tarp, so got to work on that, but I mean, it's pretty much done. So the chicken in the barn over here, I'm gonna go ahead and wash her off and let her out just to get some green grass and fresh air. She's getting a little antsy in there, but she's doing great. I had a friend drop off a ridiculous amount of tarps, so slowly going through them. That one's the right length, but the width is a little short. So I'm slowly going through some of those. The blue one over there is a little too big, so I don't know if any of them are going to be the right size. Definitely need something that's going to reflect the heat. This one is kind of a weird material. It's not a typical tarp, so I'm not going to use it. Obviously, it's too small anyway, but might have to go buy a couple more today. I wasn't planning on doing any weed eating today, but when I pulled in, my ditch looked a little wild and crazy. And in the mornings, it's in the shade, so I'm going to whip that out while it's a little cooler. They're redoing the road too. Don't know why. It was perfectly fine, but I'm not complaining. Ran out of gas, but look at the difference. Still got another 50 feet to go. So I'm gonna go ahead and open up the other chicken net that came. I'm thinking I'm gonna go ahead and just combine these two nets and have all the coops lined up together. The other option is I could do these three and then another area of the property do the other three. But I think it's just gonna be more labor intensive because I'll probably have to move the fence every day or every other day doing it that way. At least if I combine these two fences, it's only one big move every couple days. So that's what I'm leaning towards. Also, it'll be nice because I only have one solar energizer, I think. I know I have, I think 3 plug-ins, but only this one solar one. I don't know how well this works. It is a 2-mile energizer, but as you can see, there is a lot of line just hanging on the ground. I can't find my fence tester, so I'm gonna be the fence tester and see if this bites me. Ideally, I jump off of this, but I have a feeling it's not gonna be that hot, so it's currently on and connected, so let's see what happens. My hands are still kind of numb from the weed eater, so it might not be a real accurate test, but there's a little something there. So I think if I had a wet nose and stuck it on there, like a raccoon or fox or coyote coming up, they would feel it. I want to put 2 nets on here to see how much more pull that is, see if I can feel anything on it, and then if I can't, I might even wet my hand, see if I feel anything with 2 nets. If not, I'll have to think of another plan, either get another one of those, actually weed eat the area around it, which is just annoying, or I don't know, there's just a few other options to look at. So I'm gonna go ahead and unwrap the new net. So here it is. It is a 164 feet long, 4 foot tall. Got it from Premier One. I've gotten their poultry nets before and I really liked them. I also got the double spiked, not the single spiked. With the double spike, they give you a little thing you can step on to push in the ground, which is handy. If you have the single spike, you have to just grip the pole and push it in the ground. And when it's hot out and the ground's really dry, it's kind of tough. And then you just have to take a hammer and whack the top. I just am not a huge fan of the single spike, so I always get the double spike. Yes, they still bend, but they're just easier stepping on them to get the net in. So I'm gonna go ahead, open this up, unroll it, and see what we're looking like. Well, yeah, I got a little distracted on the chicken net. My dad showed up. We got the fridge moved to its spot. I ran to Lowe's to grab some stuff to work on the chicken coops again. I am gonna go ahead and check on Buffs and Marins and get in the beehives right now, just to make sure I make time for that today. And then I'll head back out there later and do some more work. So I'm out checking on the Buffs, Marins, and then the other coop back there. When I came out, I grabbed my boots because I was gonna get in the beehive, and I slipped my foot in one, and something was in there, so I hurried and got my foot out real fast, and didn't know what it was. It wasn't shaking out, so I took my phone and shined my light down in it, and it looked like a mouse. I was like, what the heck, there's a mouse in my boot? So I kept shaking it, nothing was coming out. I poked a little stick in there, nothing. And finally I took my light and got a really good look at it, realized it hadn't moved, and then finally came the realization that it was a cat toy. So that was kind of funny, but yeah, finding a cat toy mouse in your boot, that was a fun way to come out today. Well, y'all, I got caught up again doing something else. I was hanging out with my grandma family for a few hours this afternoon, so I didn't even get into the beehives today, but I did finally get this net out. Not exactly how I wanted to, but that pearl white out there is really just enjoying being outside, so I kind of feel bad throwing her back in that little water trough. So I'm just gonna leave her out there for, I don't know, maybe just tomorrow. I'd really like to get some chickens out here. Just today got away from me again. But anyway, I do have the net set up. I really love this net. The design of it is even better than the current net I have, because these double spikes here are actually solid metal. The other one, this top bar that you step on, is only plastic, and then you have two metal spikes. So solid, they go in really easy. They're gonna bend way less. The posts are a little flimsier than the other net, but overall really like it. These bottom lines are closer spaced, so that way if the chickens do ever free range, and then they won't get out as easily, and then it spaces out like normal up there. This is very hillbilly rigged. I'm gonna go ahead and leave her out for the night, so I didn't want to leave her unprotected in case, you know, a raccoon from the woods or something came out, wanted to get her. It'd be pretty simple. So I wanted to get the net up, and it is very hillbilly rigged. So I got my ground rod, and then I've just got it tied into the barn here because I don't have any other solar ones. So I have an Energizer, gonna plug it in. This is a 10 mile, so I'm either gonna get a ton of stray voltage or who knows what. It's a little too powerful just for a net that's well groomed, but we're gonna go with it for now, and at least for a day or tonight, so that way she can hang out outside and enjoy it. In the garden now, looking at some of my tomatoes from the storm that blew in the other day. It knocked them off, and I do have some of these tied up, but for whatever reason the black crims are at the very top of the plants, and they're just toppling over and snapping stems. So you can kind of see it on, you can't really see it from that angle too well. There's just too many leaves, but anyway, it's splitting them because the tomatoes are falling over. So I'm gonna go ahead and pick this one. Believe it or not, this is all one tomato. It's a giant mutant tomato. So I'm gonna go ahead and just pick it, that way it won't snap this stem any worse than what it is. Look at that monster. If the state fair had a contest for the ugliest tomato, I think I would win that one. Lost a good looking one there. It's another black crim. Pulling out a lot of twigs and branches from the trees up here, so that was some pretty strong wind we were getting from the north. I think if I had another 5 hours in the garden, I would feel like I'm all caught up and done with it, but there is so much to do in here. I feel pretty good about 2 of the tomato rows, but I still have, you know, a lot of rows left to do. But it's getting a little too dark to do anything else, so I'm gonna call it a day on the garden. Got the black light out, doing a little bit of worm hunting. So far, we're looking good. Haven't had any hornworm sightings in several days, so I'm thinking we did pretty good on them. They were only out for a couple days and we caught them before anything happened. But just using a black light, and they pop out really good. They like glow in the dark basically. If I see one tonight, I will show you. Got her ticking. Kind of scared to touch the barn. Who knows, I might have electrified it. It's very Bojank, but hopefully it'll work for the night, all right? I'm not gonna touch it. Good morning, everyone. Today is July 31st. The mixed hive back here looks like they're pretty well awake at this point, so I'm gonna go ahead, open them up, check the drone comb out, just see how they're looking in there. Dust everybody with powdered sugar. Also, this came in the mail. I've had it for at least a month. I just haven't gotten around to using it. But this is one tool that I didn't have last year that would have been interesting to have just to know where my mite load was. So it's a 3-in-1. In order to test for mites, you can use sugar, alcohol, or CO2. So basically what it is, I'll open it up here in a minute and show you. But you put about a half cup of bees in there. If you use alcohol, it kills the bees. Swish them around, then the mites and bees separate. You can count the mites. The sugar roll, which is the way I'm going to be doing it, put a half cup of bees in there, kind of stir them around in the sugar, let them sit, clean themselves off, see how many mites fall off the bees, release the bees. And the last one is a CO2 injection. So basically you just freeze the bees, and the mites also freeze in the process, fall off, and then the bees will kind of warm back up and you can dump them back in the hive and then count the mites. So those are the 3 ways. I've played around with it, never actually used it, so we're going to try it out today on the mixed hive. So here are the 3 parts. It said put about 2 tablespoons. I just did a rough estimate of powdered sugar in there. I'm going to collect this many bees, about up until the line or so. Put them in upside down, roll them around for a minute, put the cap on, let them sit for a little while, and then let the bees clean themselves off, knock the mites off, and then give it a count. The hive's looking good. That little shaker thing didn't really work out that well. Their drone comb's full. I shook the bees off into the container to try and get, a couple hundred bees in there. I think I maybe got 100, so it wasn't that easy. So then I tried scooping them up. I felt like I was doing more harm than good, so I abandoned the little shaker thing, and then I just pulled out a frame from one of the bottom deeps and looked at it for about 5 minutes, just looking around at the bees, seeing if I saw any mites. I didn't. The mites are small, but I got pretty good eyes. It might have been this time last year or a little later in the year on the white hive last year. I was seeing varroa mites on bees pretty frequently, just even out flying around. So that was a pretty big indicator that I might have had a mite problem. So I'm not seeing that this year yet. Fingers crossed that it won't happen again. I think using the sifter to shake the powdered sugar on the bees really helps get a more even coat, coats the bees better. And it actually saves on sugar, because last year I was going through pounds and pounds and pounds of sugar. This year I think I've only used 1 bag of powdered sugar. It's about gone, about to crack open another bag, but that's pretty good. So anyways, that hive is in nice shape. No honey to harvest, but they're looking good. Plan was to also get into the white hive today, but I just realized that I don't have any more deep frames over here. Just the drone comb I took out, I replaced that frame with a regular frame into the mixed hive, and I don't have any more frames if I were to pull a full drone comb out of the white hive. And I don't want to leave an empty space in there because the bees will go crazy building comb and it'll be a mess. So I will get into them tomorrow. the road got all paved today. Super nice. Came up on my drive just a little bit. Very cool. So what I want to do out here today is actually get that net out, move the coop out. I also want to do a ton of garden work because all the rain we've had, things are just growing like crazy. Need to start getting some more things staked, adding lines, and just weeding everything. Alright, y'all, so I just got into this hive. Today I told myself I'd make the decision on if I was going to requeen or not, and I still didn't really decide. At this point I'm not going to. They're not really using this top box here, so just took it off. When I got in, there was quite a bit of damage from small hive beetle. The traps caught a few of them, so that's what I'm equating it to. You even see a larva they pulled out there from one of the bees because the beetles are in there messing with them. So I reduced the size of their hive, that way they can concentrate down just into a single box. I added one more small hive beetle trap, so there's 2 in this box now. We'll reevaluate in another week and see what they're looking like, but trying to help them out a little bit. Also going to put on an entrance reducer, that way they only have a tiny area to guard. That way no more beetles can come in. They can work on getting the ones that are in there out. Now I will say this looks a little suspicious. Typically if I eat a tomato, I eat the whole thing, and if I don't, I'll throw it somewhere else besides here. You can see there's little marks there, look like claw marks. Hopefully don't have a raccoon or something out here munching on all my red tomatoes. Today's weather was absolutely gorgeous. No humidity. You can't even feel the temperature. It's just absolutely amazing. Howdy y'all, today is August 1st. I cannot believe it's August already. It feels like summer just started. Anyways, I am in the chick coop, the one from the 5th grade project this past spring. And the roosters have matured and they're starting to crow. I've got a good 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, maybe about 10. They keep moving around, so they're kind of hard to count. I definitely don't need 10 roosters, so I'm gonna keep a couple of them because I would like an Americana rooster to replace the bad Americana rooster. For those that didn't know, my Americana rooster went a little too crazy. He was just really aggressive with the girls in general, and he wound up really severely injuring one of my hens. She's okay now, but I'd like to get another rooster in that pen, and we'll see on the Buffs and Marins if I replace Doodle Doo or not, because he's getting old. But anyways, got some decisions to make on that in the next week. Out with the speckled Sussex now, and one of the roosters started crowing over here too. A big day for the roosters. I have 2 in here, one on the far left and then the guy on the right. See if I can catch who's crowing. This guy looks more developed than this littler one over here. I've been sitting by their coop recording for 5 minutes, and of course he's not gonna crow, but he was crowing all the whole time I was grabbing eggs and taking the food and water and moving coops, so maybe I'll catch him yet today. working with the tomatoes, looked down and found a 5-leaf clover. I don't think I've ever seen one of those before. Well, y'all, my car's done. So this is the last day. I am in the Jeep, which honestly, I'm kind of happy because it's such a gas hog. But because it's Jeep, I went ahead and took advantage of a little bit of off-roading. That water line that was dug in was sticking up with mounds of dirt, so I went crazy on it with the Jeep, running it over, trying to pack everything in really good. So Jeep is nice for that, because my little soccer mom car would not have done that. But gas mileage on my car is a lot better, so I'm not complaining. Howdy out. Today is August 3rd. Feels pretty good out. I just filled up the bees' water right behind me, so they're good. I'm gonna go ahead and check on the white hive. Couple things today. One, I'm going to get in there and pull out the drone comb if it needs changed out. I did remember to bring a frame over so I can pop a fresh one in, take the green one out. And then I also want to pull off a honey super and harvest some honey today. So this honey super is completely full. Looks really good down in there. This very well could be the last honey harvest of the year. So far we are halfway there, 4 more to go, and it looks really nice. So the honey is all harvested. I have 8 frames front and back that look just like this. They look really nice. So the first step of harvesting this is to take this spiky roller and uncap it. So you can see that it's a pretty firm wax foundation over the top of it. So you got to use the spikes to pop it open and let the honey flow out. After the frames are uncapped, you can put 4 in here, and then just centrifugal force will fling it out on the sides. And there's a little spot at the bottom where you can flow out and then filter it. And this is the strainer, so it's actually pretty cool. There's a coarse side and a fine side. So after it's extracted, I run it through here and then put it in a bottle. Howdy out. Today is August 4th. Finished bottling and labeling all the honey this morning. Kind of tired of sitting down. Got 30 pounds on the dot, which is awesome. And all the utensils here, instead of just washing it off in the sink, I'm gonna let the bees clean it up first, because why put it down the drain when the bees will eat it just fine. So I'm gonna set this stuff out for them and then work on the chickens. So when I harvested the honey yesterday, I took the frames out of the box. So I just grabbed the empty box. It smells so good. And what I'm gonna do is take the frames and put them back in there and then set it out in the far corner of the yard. That way both hives can kind of get a chance to clean it up without feeling like they've got to rob each other. Just missed it. There were 2 massive hawks flying right over the chicken coop, and my chickens are out. They're not happy about it. So the plan today is to grab as many chickens, as far as the buffs and marans, that I can. This is the smaller of the 2 crates I have. My car is pretty loaded down, so that's the only one that's gonna fit. I would have taken a different vehicle to get everybody for sure, plus even some of the chicks from the school project. But I need to load my car down for the farmer's market tomorrow, so I'm just gonna get what I can between these 3 crates today. All right, got all the chickens loaded up. Wasn't too bad really. And gonna head on out. So there's 2 pearl whites in here now. The chicken on the right is the one that had the prolapse, acting totally fine, laying eggs, being a normal chicken. Then the other one, I gave her a friend. She was kind of limpy. I think it's the chicken maybe it's a couple months ago, I can't remember. But kind of had a limp and then was fine after a while. She wasn't getting picked on or anything, but I figured just to give this one a friend. But I'm gonna go ahead and throw both of these guys back out to their main coop. And they are back and happy. So when I was in the new coop grabbing those 2 pearl whites, I realized that I didn't put a roost bar in the middle. So I'm gonna cut a 6-foot board real quick, nail that in, and then roll it on out. So these are the new wheels for this coop. It's like monster truck wheels. The wheels are a lot bigger, so we're thinking that they'll probably roll a little easier. Also, I really like this design better than having the little piece of metal flipping back and forth in the middle. This is just foolproof, super simple. And then when you're done with it, all you do is step on it and then lift up on that wire. So gonna go ahead and pull it on out. Whew. I guess the old heart pumping, almost there. About 5 feet from the net right now. Another 20 or so feet to pull it and then we're good. It pulls fantastic, super easy. I really like this coop and I cannot wait to get the chickens out here. So actually last week I got an electrical outlet in, actually my dad did, and then my dad just got this spigot in, so super nice to have one on the barn, already coming in handy. Also now I have a water spigot up here, so doing really good on spigots. It feels so nice. Thank you for doing all that, Dad. Getting so many chickens out here, it's to the point that I gotta start bringing the wagon out with all their food. This one here is like a cat or dog feeder. I didn't have another feeder out here. I do have a couple more back at the other property, so next time I run back out there and then back, I'll grab that instead. But for now, that'll work fine. Well, yeah, all the eggs are washed for the farmer's market. They're in the refrigerator, chilling out. I'm currently working on the chicken net before it gets any darker out. I did already harvest everything from the garden. I got some really ugly tomatoes. I'll show you guys a couple pictures. But the cucumbers are looking good. Got a lot of nice things going in there, so every week I should have a little bit more.